This episode is brought to you by North American Herb and Spice, the original Mediterranean wild oregano company. Go to www.p-73.com to learn more about North American's new line of raw Amazon products, including Mako Power, the only available pure non-alcohol liquid extract of raw purple maca. Hi, welcome to Vitamin Junkeys. I'm Jennifer Lyall.
I'm Dr. JJ.
And we have a special guest with us today, registered holistic nutritionist, public speaker, and author, Rosalie Moscoe.
Hi, great to be here.
Today we're going to be talking about 5 ways you can relieve stress now. But before we get into that, we're going to see what JJ's taking today.
Okay, the topic is stress. When you're trying to deal with stress, support someone who's going through a time of stress, what I like to give my patients, I like to give them an adaptogen. So what an adaptogen is normally a herbal product that helps you adapt to a time of stress, a time of disease, etc. So probably the most common adaptogen is ginseng. So a lot of you have probably heard of ginseng out there. And the type of ginseng we're actually taking today is called Russian ginseng. So it's known as rhodiola. Rhodiola is great. I find it has an affinity for women. It seems to work a bit better on women than it does on men. So usually in my female patients, if they're stressed, I'll give them rhodiola. And what's neat about it too is that I find it seems to help with cravings a little bit too. So I found a good benefit there. So that is the rhodiola for today, and that's what we'll be taking. There we go.
Good.
So Rosalie, can you tell me, is all stress bad?
I don't think so, Jennifer, because we really need stress in our lives if you're a little bit of excitement, a little bit of a challenge. I mean, think about going for a new job. I mean, you would never go for a job if you were so stressed you couldn't bear it. It makes us have energy and excitement for life, and we need this in our life. Otherwise we may not be fulfilled as people if we never challenge ourselves in any way. So we need a little bit of stress, but it's on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you were, say 1 is like you're sort of like nothing bothers you, you're not stressed at all, maybe you're a little bit bored, that's down at the bottom. And then you got number 10, which you're over the top, you're always sort of like running around fast and crazy like, your eye is jiggling and your knee is going like this, and that's over the top and you can't seem to, like just get it together. And so we need to be somewhere in the middle. And so where do you think you are?
I'm a 6.
Only a 6? I think
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty even keeled. Depends. Yeah, depends. Sometimes I am. If I get a call from a utility company, I jump to a 12.
Well,
but other than that, I feel fine.
That's good. And you know what? You got to work at it. There's things you can do to keep yourself and to recognize when you get over that 6 or 7 and recognize when are you there. And then if you recognize that you are sort of a little bit over the top, there are things you can do to help yourself.
And we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
What are some things that can impact your body from an overload of stress? What can happen to your body?
Well,
or what can't?
What can? It's stress leads to pretty much as a risk factor for most diseases.
Yeah.
Cancer, heart disease, disease, stroke, high blood pressure, heart attack, etc. As a whole, pretty much anything.
It's true. Say. Yeah, irritable bowel syndrome. A lot of the more difficult PMS. That one. IBS, PMS, and I'm a mess. So, so it's like a little bit of everything. And stress is, I understand, is responsible about 80% of doctors' visits. So, I mean, you're right. It can impact almost everything, and can make people's immune systems go down, so that you get colds. Have you ever noticed after a stressful period you get sick? Like if you have a lot of stress, you catch anything that's going around. Other people don't, but all of a sudden you do. Why?
So why do some people suffer from more stress than others?
Well, again, it's your perception of stress and what you're going through at the time, and maybe you grew up and your patterns are pretty well set by the time you're around 40. How you're going to react to stress, and maybe your family was sort of if they got stressed they would scream and yell, and then your family might be if they got stressed they would sort of like be quiet and don't talk about it. and they would just let it boil inside them like that. So it depends on how you react to stress, your perception of it also. How, you know, like maybe what stresses you out wouldn't even bother me.
It also depends on what your coping mechanisms are too.
That's right.
If you exercise regularly, then you're a lot calmer. If you do breathing exercises,
Exactly.
you've got a good support system.
Yeah.
You're not overloading your body with alcohol and caffeine
Exactly.
and sugar, which just makes you even more on the edge of losing it.
Yeah. So then you're
it's a lifestyle thing.
That's
too.
right. Lifestyle is really important, and I really try to to tell people that in my work I'm a speaker on this subject, and it's really important that people look at their lifestyle, and it does make a difference.
Now you've got 5 strategies of how we can reduce stress now. So what are your tips for us?
Number 1, look at what's bothering you. Number 1. Like really, because we can be stressed about 10 things, but you got to really focus. What is it that's really stressing me out? You might have 10 things and write them all down. And then you got to go about your way of how you're going to deal with them. I think that's it, instead of just letting it just sort of like circulate in your head, and then it really gets worse. So assessment is really important. What is the main things, and prioritize what you want to work on. Number 2 is your perception of stress, whether it's, you know, how bad is it really? And sometimes we can talk our way, make ourselves worse by talking bad things. Like we have this little negative radio sitting on our shoulder. Oh, you'll never make it. You're an idiot. You know, you can never do anything right. But we got to change the channel to a more positive station. And we got to say, I'm okay. I can do this. I can stay calm with this difficult person. I can do it. I can get through this. This too shall pass.
Wow.
So we need to tell ourselves positives, and that reduces our stress, because the more calmer we are, instead of like worrying and feeling negative, then the more we're able to cope. So we really need to tell ourselves some positives. So self-talk is number 2. Number 3, chill out. Start walking slower, talking slower. Notice when you're rushing, you know, are you really, maybe you're just doing too much. You know, you just might be doing too much and you're trying to fit everything in. So you might be overcommitted. But chill out, take time for you. It's so important for your adrenal glands. They get burned out. You know, the adrenaline is just pumping through your body all the time. It doesn't get a chance to just rest. Even computers break down.
That's right.
They need
Very
rest,
true.
you know? So
Very true.
we need to chill out. Number 3, the health number, that was 3. Number 4 is the health trio, which is buffers, health buffers for stress, which Dr. JJ was talking about. You know, exercise, eating properly, nutrition, exercise, and sleep. If you're eating well and you're exercising and you're not sleeping, you're sleeping 2-3 hours a night, you'll be stressed. You got to have all 3 working for you. You got to get and if you eat better and you exercise, you'll sleep better. So they're all interconnected. Everything's interconnected. So we need to really look at those health buffers and know they're your basics. That's what's going to help you cope with stress. Eat well, get off the sugars, eat healthy fruits and vegetables, lots of, some protein, good fats. So that's number 4. Number 5, social. Don't just shy away from all your friends if you're upset. It'll make it worse. You only feel worse. When we reach out to people and talk about it, you feel better. You can still have fun even if you're stressed. So I really recommend that people reach out. Women have a oxytocin, which is a chemical that's released when they're with women or with children, tending children. And sometimes I don't know about that. It depends. But it does, and it calms women when they're with other women. It makes you feel better when you can talk. So call a friend. Keep up with some social things, even if you're stressed. So those are the 5 main ones.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you covered that in your book as well, don't you? Frazzled, Hurried Woman.
And Dr. Hoffa says right on the front that men should read this book too.
Yes.
So
she probably should.
Yeah.
Look at the pictures.
And so it's a way of a wellness approach to stress, and looking at many different ways natural ways that we can reduce stress in our lives and feel calm and centered and whole again.
Fantastic.
What I find too for stress, what's neat is to kind of take yourself out of your environment a little bit, because you get used to your environment. If you're a stressed person, you're usually around other stressed people.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of leave that environment and realize, oh geez, not everyone lives like I do.
Yeah,
It's
that's
neat.
so true.
And I go spend a week in Vancouver and realize that we have a much faster pace.
Yeah, very fast. And getting into nature like Vancouver, I mean, like anytime you go in nature, you feel better. You go somewhere by a lake, you just take it in, it calms you. We're meant to be in nature, not in concrete. And so I really think that that's a great idea. Just, you know, get to somewhere where it's calm,
Go
to
to
the
a
lake.
park,
Yeah.
even in our big cities, we have
That's
lots
right.
of parks. Yeah, even if
Exactly.
you're cooped up in an apartment, just go to a park, it'll calm you down. So.
There you go.
Deep breathing. We forgot to
yeah.
mention deep
Deep breathing.
breathing.
Instead of
Very
taking a
important.
smoke break, take a breathing break.
Exactly. There we
Yeah,
go.
and yeah, or put on music and just, you know, just let it fill you, something that you really love. So anything that will make you feel better. It's okay to feel better. You know, people sometimes feel, oh, you know, I have no time for this, but it's really, you need time for it. It's very important to your health to have some pleasurable joys in your life.
That's awesome.
Agreed.
Thank you so much for those great tips.
you.
Thank you.
Now, if you would like to find a holistic nutritionist or a naturopathic doctor to help you create some good strategies for you to help beat stress, then you can click the Find a Practitioner link on our website, vitaminjunkies.com. And while you're there,
And while you're there, is it my turn? Oh, it's my turn. While you're there, please join the addiction and sign up for our weekly podcasts. We want to know what ideas you would like to see us cover on our show. We are open to your suggestions. Fill out our survey, and you'll have a chance to win $100 and cool stuff from Hey Jute.
thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you,
you.
Rosalie, and thank you
Thank
to
you.
our viewers. I'm Jennifer Lyall.
I'm Dr. JJ.
And I'm Rosalie Moscoe, Health in Harmony. Look forward to speaking to you again.
Keep up the addiction to good health.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do.